Hello, this is Mr. Usher, and we have now made it to the final chapter of the class. This is Chapter 13, Advanced PowerPoint Features. And if we look back to everything that we have covered in this textbook, A Guide to Microsoft Office 2013, we started in Chapter 1 with a very basic chapter just about learning the internet, learning how to operate in a Windows-based environment, how to operate with different Office applications. And then we moved into 3 chapters in Word, 3 chapters in Excel, and these final 2 chapters, chapters 12 and now 13, in PowerPoint. So let's take a look at what we have to do in this chapter. So the very first one is called the Human Geography Quiz, and it's a practice that has a true-false question and has a multiple choice question. And I really like this practice because one way when you guys are giving presentations later on is to find a way to kind of like engage the audience. And sometimes giving them simple little questions to keep them on their toes to add some interaction is a very good technique. So if you were to add a true, false, or multiple choice question into a presentation that you give in the future, I think that the audience would, again, appreciate it and be more engaged, and definitely the teacher would feel like you have a very good grasp on how you're handling the audience and the pressures of standing up in front of a class and giving a presentation. Another thing that you'll be doing in Human Geography Quiz is you'll be adding in some animations, which are making text move. Animations can also make pictures move, or different objects that are placed on a slideshow. And you're going to be doing something called annotations, which is using a tool to draw, highlight, or gesture on a slideshow when it is in a full screen view. When you exit the slideshow, you could decide to either keep or discard the annotations, but they kind of work as if you were using maybe a laser pointer, but instead of using a laser pointer as a device, you're just maybe using your mouse pointer to reference certain areas of your slideshow. The next practice is called Contini Holiday Cookies, and you'll just be creating a few slides for recipes of cookies. I believe you'll also be applying an image into the slide master, so that helps a little bit with you giving you some additional practice with the slide master, which I mentioned from chapter 12 is a very important tool into customizing your slideshows. The guest house and the guest house promo kind of work together. In the guest house, you're creating a short presentation where you'll be inserting a video and you'll be inserting a sound clip. And the purpose of that is to let you know that importing media is important to engaging your audience, and it's almost expected now, especially with the connectivity that we have with the internet, with Wi-Fi, with YouTube, the availability of videos, that it's not a bad idea to embed or play, maybe hyperlink to a video or embed a video in a slideshow. Just as a simple 30-second, 1 minute, little addition to your presentation. So again, I previously talked about in Human Geography Quiz about adding a quiz to engage your audience. Well, adding a video or some sounds, if sounds are appropriate, then you could add sounds. I often tell my students that adding sounds sometimes could distract the audience. Sometimes it could startle the audience, but sometimes it could take away from their ability to being able to hear you speak. So just be careful on how you add in sounds, but I definitely agree that videos, that'll be an opportunity to kind of stop the presentation, everybody watches the video, and then you come back and explain why that video is important. So the guest house promo, you do not have to submit an assignment, so take a look how I've noted in the Google Classroom to mark it as done. But what that was for is it was following a process to package your presentation. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, we were not as lucky as we are nowadays to have the internet and to have Wi-Fi on all these connected computers. Another thing is not all computers always had PowerPoint or Microsoft Office. So you wouldn't know sometimes if you were coming into a presentation what you were going to have as far as a computer that is connected to a projector. And packaging the presentation helps solve a lot of those problems. Nowadays, it's a little bit easier. We are saving things within cloud, so we can just log in. You could email a file to yourself. You could even bring a flash drive. But they created this guest house promo to show you how you could package a presentation, and it would help solve some of those issues that you could have if you arrived in a room that had a projector connect to a computer that might not be connected to the internet, connected to PowerPoint, or have PowerPoint installed, so it would still allow you to be able to deliver your presentation. The last practice that you're going to be working on is called Alaska Photos, and I think it kind of takes a perspective as if you were on a vacation and you took some photos of some different animals, and you came back and wanted to arrange them into a slideshow, a picture slideshow. So this is something that we oftentimes do nowadays, and we like to display pictures digitally rather than print them out. So knowing how to create a digital slideshow using images is important, and there's a feature called a photo album feature in PowerPoint. When you're done with the practices, you'll be completing the review, and you will have two simple exercises. Cat Sharks, you will be taking the file that you began and worked on in the previous chapter and adding a sound file to it. And then the presentation software, exercise 4, is kind of a cool exploration where you will be able to identify a few additional presentation softwares that are available for people to use. We are working on PowerPoint, but Google Slides is available to you guys as students. And oftentimes a popular one that I've noticed some people using recently was Prezi. That might be a choice, and there are additional types of slideshow softwares that you guys can use and add on to your presentation. And that will conclude all the chapters that we will be covering in the textbook. And congratulations, you are very close to completing the course.